Hey guys, and welcome to a new segment I'm starting called Eric Talks Wrestling, where I do just that. I talk wrestling. Anything from uh, current to ideas for the future to even things of the past. I hope you guys find what I say somewhat interesting. That's kind of the whole point. I will say that please comment below and let me know what your thoughts are, whether you agree or disagree. This is all in good, clean fun. And if you heavily disagree to the point that you want to fight me, step up, bro. Where are you at? So moving in, we're going to be talking about something kind of fun, and it's what would you do differently with Monday Night Raw? And I actually have a really good couple ideas of things that I would do differently for Monday Night Raw. I'm talking about Monday Night Raw. I'm not talking about the WWE as a whole. So first and foremost, since I only have, let's just say I only have creative rights to Raw and not the team. So unfortunately, I have to leave the commentators at a 3-person team. But if I had to choose, I would make it a 2-person team, and all 3 of them would most likely be gone, with the only exception of anyone staying would be JBL. I definitely think this would be an opportunity for Corey Graves to really shine on a real announced team. Now, I'd of course love to see good old JR back, but no, if it were up to me, it'd be a 2-person team. So what would I do first? Well, that's simple. We're going back to a 2-hour show. That's right. No more 3-hour shows. No more being constantly bombarded with commercials and all these ridiculous facts about how the WWE has more followers on Twitter and social media than the NFL. That would be number 2. We stop acknowledging the competition. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring it right down to a 2-hour show. Why? Because you don't need 3 hours. It has been proven that within hour 3, the WWE has the lowest attendance of people viewing at home than of the other 2 hours on average. Okay? Number 2, we stop acknowledging all competition. We stop talking about the NFL because, let's be honest, you want to know why the Monday night ratings are slipping, and that's because of Monday Night Football and also due to MLB postseason. It has nothing to do with the fact that we're not getting enough authority. It has nothing to do with the fact that we're not getting enough John Cena. It has to do with the fact that in a competition that takes place on Monday night, there just happens to be more things that happen on Mondays right now that only happen one time a year. Oh, excuse me. Now, with that being said, we don't acknowledge the NFL. We don't talk about the MLB. We don't talk about how we're more popular than Netflix. We don't mention any form of social media at all. Why? Because we're putting the focus in all the wrong places. It goes away. Sorry about that pause. Sending a text. Because if we keep acknowledging everybody that their WWE is doing better than, we're putting focus on them. The whole point of beating the competition is you have to pretend that it doesn't exist. And since they're in a war, they believe me, if they wanted to war with NFL, Goodell would crush it. It's just simple as that. Why? Because people will actually bet on a professional sporting event before they'll bet on wrestling, and that's probably the main point. So we stop doing that. The announce team will no longer make reference to anything else that's happening outside of an actual wrestling match. They're going to actually call the matches. They're going to actually call the matches for what they are, spot for spot. If they want, like, having some minor ramblings every now and again is more than fine. But enough of this talking about what's going on in social media, enough hashtagging, enough trying to sell other people on this. No, they're going to be calling the matches from now on. As a matter of fact, any mere mention of a hashtag or anything like that immediately ends up getting cut off. Yes, we're doing it that way. because we do not want to be we don't want to give false attention to the wrong places. What would I do next? Definitely have to go through the roster, and I'd have to get rid of some people. And first three people on my list are Big Show, Kane, and Mark Henry. They are no longer going to be active wrestlers on television anymore. They can be behind the scenes, they can be personnel, they can be on-screen characters, but they are not setting foot in a wrestling match ever again. As far as I'm considered, all three of them are retired. And while we're at it, let's move into the women's division. We're going to trim out the women's division because, honestly, we've got too many girls there that aren't doing anything and just taking up space. Starting with Alicia Fox, her time is coming past. She could have had a really good run a few years ago, but they didn't capitalize on it until much later, and no one really cares now. And while we are at it, we might as well just clear out with Tamina because, as far as I'm considered, again, wasted opportunity. She could have been a much bigger star much earlier on in her career, but they waited way too long to pull the trigger with her. So as far as I'm considered, make her a trainer. Make her a manager. She'd be a phenomenal manager. She definitely has that manager look. Who else? Well, let's see. If Cameron's still on the roster, she can just go because the girl can't wrestle. And while we're at it, Summer Rae can also go as well because she can neither wrestle nor can she talk. In my opinion, every time Summer Rae comes on television, it's either to gossip about some other girl or it feels like I'm watching some sort of TMZ run. And we let's be honest, we don't need that. So we're going to trim out the fat and we're going to let the NXT talent stay in NXT just a little bit longer because I feel if we keep pulling NXT up the way that they are, we're not going to have anyone in NXT worth discussing unless, of course, the likes of TNA and Ring of Honor and New Japan and, of course, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla just decide to give us all of their talent, which, let's be honest, is not going to happen. Certain people's pushes are definitely coming to an end, and I'm starting with John Cena on this. I think his time in the spotlight is over. I think it's time to start letting other people shine. If you're going to keep him on the card, fine. Keep him on the card, but he does not need to always have a championship, and he doesn't need to be the focus of attention at the end of the main show or on a pay-per-view if he's not holding a main belt. Let him do what he does best. Get him in an actual feud with someone that does that on screen does not like him, and just have them beat the crap out of each other for the next 3-4 months. Have them do a best of 5 or a best of 7 series what they used to do back in 05 and 06. It was glorious. Just do something like that. All right? And with that being said, unless you're going to give some real light to the Intercontinental title, here's my recommendations for the Intercontinental title. Step 1, bring back the black Intercontinental title belt, please. There's just something about this white belt that is just looks so fake, so phony, and I just don't like it. I like the old style belt, the one they had right up until about 2011, 2012, the original black leather belt with the oblong oval Intercontinental logo right smack dab in the middle of it. I understand what they were trying to do, like go retro with it for a little while, but it's time to bring it back. And speaking of changing the title back, I think we can definitely go back with the WWE main belt. I think you see more of the belt than you do anything else. I think it's a vast improvement over the DJ Hero spinner belt. But, here's my thought on championship belts. The point of a championship belt is it's an acknowledgement that you are the best in that category. Look at WCW. WCW. Their main belt was just this big metal golden plate. And you knew if you had that belt, you were the head dog in the yard. The tag team title belts both matched. They both looked prominent. You knew that they were the best in the tag team division. The women's championship was simple, again, very obvious, and it showed that you were a serious champion. The lower main card belts, they differed enough as far as looks go, but you knew what they were. You look now on belts, what do you got? You have a main championship belt that's supposed to be the undisputed title, kind of what they did back in 2002, and then they slowly merged it. Which, by the way, that undisputed title they had in 2002, I want that belt, please. Yeah, the gold and black one, the really awesome one. I'd like that one, please. That'd be awesome. Let's get that one back. All right. But the one they have now, it feels like the logo is a hollowed out. I don't know. It's a hollowed out design on a leather belt. You get more of the leather belt than you do the logo, and they're just trying to show off the new logo. The Divas belt is a butterfly. End of point. It's really, you really want to show that off and prove like I'm the champ. I am the champ. No, it looks like you just got out of it looks like you just walked out of a clothing store, okay? No. The tag team titles, I'm not going to say they're terrible, but I desperately want to go back to the original tag team belts they had in the early 2000s. I don't necessarily like the design too much. The two Spartan helmets and the circular copper logo, it just seems a little weird. It's not the worst one, but I definitely think we can do a little bit better than that. I will say that I do like this United States title. I think this is my most favorite version of it, plain and simple. I felt the WCW version was a little too plain and you didn't really see much of it. And the early version of the United States title, again, was kind of the same thing. And then, of course, there was what John Cena did to it when he won it, which was an abomination. And then they slowly just turned it into the belt that we have now. And I got to say, that's probably one of their best-looking ones that they've had on the show for quite some time. So, what would I do differently with the belts? Well, that's simple. The WWE belt is going to get a makeover. It's going to actually look like a legitimate fighting championship belt. I think all the belts need to start looking more official, more serious, more like, yes, we are the champions in that category, and this is the belt to prove that I am better than you. Come and get some. Not, ooh, look at this flashy piece of bling that I can show off that's going to look nice in front of a camera. I think the era of swag needs to end, and let's start taking it a little more seriously. And with that being said, let's get off the PG era and go back to a PG-14 or like a TV-14 setting, or dare I even say a PG-13, whatever the setting is, like the step above that where there's some adult language, but it doesn't get overboard. And above all else, let's start having fun again. Let's go back to wrestling. Let's stop worrying so much about storyline, and let's just start having a good time. But anyway, that's my say on it. Let me know what you guys think. I just threw a lot of stuff out there in just over 12 minutes. Hope you guys like it. And next time, I'm going to be talking about how I feel that Raw and SmackDown should have their own respective titles like they used to have back when they split over a decade ago. But until then, I will see you all next time.